Discover the shocking truth of Job 40 divine revelations from God in the whirlwind of faith. In the land of Uz, a man named Job lived in the days when the world was young, a time when the silence of the heavens could be pierced by the cries of mortals. Job was a man of impeccable character, revered for his righteousness. His days were filled with the laughter of his 10 children and the blessings of vast herds, a testament to the favor of the Almighty. Day after day, he pleaded with God, offering sacrifices for his family, seeking purity and justice in a world clouded by dust and shadows. Yet, in the celestial realms where human eyes cannot pierce, a formidable exchange unfolded. The accuser, known as Satan, strode into the divine council, challenging God's view of Job's unyielding faith. Have you not placed a hedge around him, protecting all that he possesses? He mocked. Remove that hedge, and he will surely curse you. God, trusting in Job's integrity, allowed the trial to commence. Calamity soon descended upon Job's life like a swarm of locusts. The news came swiftly: raiders stole his oxen and donkeys, fire from heaven consumed his sheep, a great wind struck the home where his children feasted, bringing their laughter to a halt. In one devastating moment, Job lost all that he cherished. As he scraped his sore body, dust covering his mourning frame, he felt the depths of despair creep into his heart. But rather than cursing the name of the Lord, he fell to the ground and worshipped, declaring, "The Lord gave, and the Lord has taken away, blessed be the name of the Lord." His friends, Eliphaz, Bildad, and Zophar, arrived with heavy hearts, sitting in silence for 7 days, their voices stilled by the enormity of Job's sorrow. When the silence broke, their words cut sharply: "Consider, Job, who that was innocent ever perished?" They demanded. But Job clung to his integrity, crying out, "I am innocent, why then should I suffer?" His cries resonated in the heavens, a poignant question echoing through a universe filled with divine purpose. He wrestled in his spirit, yearning for answers, seeking to understand the weight of his affliction. As he questioned his relationship with God, a fear took root: was faith meant to bear such agony? And then, as if the very heavens responded to his turmoil, a whirlwind arose, and God's voice boomed through the tempest, shaking the foundations of Job's understanding. "Who is this that darkens counsel by words without knowledge?" God asked. With each inquiry, the majesty of creation unfolded, the mysteries of the cosmos revealed a design far beyond mortal comprehension. Before we continue with this incredible biblical account, I want to make sure you don't miss any of these powerful scripture stories. Click the bell icon and select all notifications. These biblical narratives have transformed countless lives throughout history. If God's word through this story is blessing you, please like and share with someone who needs to hear about God's faithfulness today. Tell me in the comments, which biblical story has most impacted your faith journey? I'm always amazed how God's word speaks to hearts across generations. Now let's continue with what the Lord did next. Job's heart trembled as he wrestled with the weight of divine revelation. The enormity of the whirlwind, God's voice resounding through the air, beckoned him to surrender his limited understanding to the grandeur of God's wisdom. Yet in the echo of divine mystery, a question lingered: could he find hope amid his suffering? As Job stood in awe, poised on the precipice of faith, he grasped for answers that seemed as elusive as the wind. What awaited him in the depths of the whirlwind was a profound promise of restoration hidden within the fabric of divine purpose. And the Lord continued to speak from the tempest, asking Job, "Where were you when I laid the foundations of the earth? Tell me, if you understand." The voice of the Almighty created a tremor in Job's heart, each question forming layers of understanding he had yet to grasp. Who determined its measurements? Surely you know. Or who stretched the line upon it? The grandeur of creation unfolded before him as if the heavens peeled back their veil, revealing the splendor of divine wisdom. With each word, Job felt the weight of his previous questions fade into insignificance. The magnificence of God's design loomed vast, greater than the sorrow that enveloped him. The stars blinked down from their heavenly thrones, and the great sea answered with its waves. All of creation seemed to witness this exchange, amplifying the Almighty's presence. Have you commanded the morning since your days began, and caused the dawn to know its place? God continued, his inquiries painting a foundation of reality beyond mortal understanding. Job's breaths grew shallow as the depth of God's wisdom crashed against the shores of his suffering. He contemplated the intricate weaving of answering mysteries, recognizing the folly and the limitations of his own heart. "I lay my hand on my mouth," he murmured softly, sensing the gravity of the moment. Yet, even amid divine confrontation, hope whispered gently in Job's spirit. The Lord's voice held a thread of purpose entwined within the tapestry of his trials. "Will you discredit my justice?" God thundered. "Will you condemn me that you may be justified?" The weight of these questions bore down on Job, yet within them flickered a reminder of the divine plan, a blueprint of restoration unfurling beneath the surface of apparent despair. As God spoke of the great beasts of the earth and the Leviathan that roamed the seas, Job began to see a revelation of strength, resilience mirrored in nature itself, yet transcending it. Could it be that his trials were not born merely of anguish but part of a greater narrative, a prelude to an unexpected renewal? "Is it by your understanding that the hawk soars and spreads its wings toward the south?" the Lord asked. Each celestial query seemed to forge an answer deep within Job's spirit, a realization that his pain was part of something extraordinary. He recognized that the depth of his suffering was matched only by the vastness of God's sovereign hand. With new resolve, Job cried out in the silence between God's questions, "I know that you can do all things, and that no purpose of yours can be thwarted." These words echoed with the weight of transformed understanding, renewing his heart with courage and trust, and in that moment of wrestling with his unseen reality, a divine hook gripped the core of Job's being. What if the end of this suffering was only the beginning of a revelation far greater than he could envision? God's sovereign plan unfolded like a scroll before him, radiant with promises yet to be discovered, and Job sensed that restoration lay on the horizon, waiting for him at the edge of faithful surrender. Then the Lord continued to speak from the whirlwind, his voice now rich with an urgency that stirred the very foundations of Job's soul. "Gird up your loins like a man, I will question you, and you shall answer me." Each word was a summons, echoing through the depths of the human experience, an invitation to engage with the Almighty on the grand stage of existence. "Will you even put me in the wrong? Will you condemn me that you may be justified?" The Almighty's challenge rang with celestial authority. Job felt the sting of these divine inquiries, and the very fabric of his reasoning was stretched taut before the Creator. His heart trembled, knowing he had ventured into a realm where reason faltered, and faith required a deeper embrace of the divine mystery. "Do you have an arm like God, and can you thunder with a voice like His?" God asked, his questions cascading like great waves upon the shores of Job's understanding. With each pronouncement, Job was confronted with the stark reality of his own limitations. Would he dare to comprehend the magnitude of divine majesty? As the whirlwind swirled around him, God painted before Job vivid portraits of his creation. "Look at Behemoth, which I made along with you, he eats grass like an ox. Behold, his strength is in his loins and his power in the muscles of his belly." The imagery stirred in Job a newfound appreciation for the Creator's handiwork, each majestic beast a testament to God's unfathomable wisdom and creativity. "Can you draw out Leviathan with a fishhook, or press down his tongue with a cord?" God continued, each question crafting a defining line between the divine and the created. "Will he make many pleas to you? Will he speak to you soft words?" The formidable nature of the Leviathan echoed the struggles of Job's heart, reflecting the monstrous anguish that had beset him. Job's gaze drifted to the heavens, he yearned for understanding amidst the chaos. "Who then is able to stand before me?" God thundered, the question reverberating through the storm. Job felt the chill of humility as he realized how far he had strayed into the realms of questioning God's righteousness and understanding regarding his suffering. "Who has given me anything that I should repay him? Whatever is under the whole heaven is mine," God declared, revealing the sovereignty that governed life's trials. In this moment, Job understood more profoundly that his loss and lament were wrapped in the rich tapestry of a divine narrative far beyond his immediate sorrow. With an overwhelming sense of vulnerability, Job responded, "I have uttered what I did not understand, things too wonderful for me, which I did not know." A flicker of hope ignited in his spirit as he surrendered to the weighty truth of God's righteous governance. And then, in the eye of the storm, God spoke once more, "Hear, and I will speak, I will question you, and you make it known to me. The invitation stirred Job's heart anew, the promise of revelation unfolding before him like the dawn breaking through the night, yet, beyond the questions and the storm, an enigmatic truth lingered in the air. Could it be that the cycle of despair held the seed of divine revelation that would change his narrative forever? God's sovereign plan awaited revelation, poised like a hidden treasure beneath the surface of Job's trials, waiting for him to unearth it through faith. Then the Lord continued, and a deeper silence fell over the whirlwind. The majesty of his presence pressed upon Job, revealing the myriad wonders wrapped within his infinite wisdom. Shall the one who contends with the Almighty correct him? Let him who accuses God answer it. The words bore the weight of eternity, deepening the cadence of the storm as Job felt the magnitude of his own voice in the presence of the Creator. Job, shaken yet emboldened by the truth spilling forth, recognized the divinity before him. I will not answer, for I am but dust and ashes, he confessed, understanding now that his protests were clothed in frailty. In this moment of surrender, the whirlwind became a cradle of understanding, inviting him to contemplate his humble position in the vastness of God's design. Then prepare yourself, the Lord responded, and the tempest intensified, for I will question you, and you shall declare to me concerning my statutes. Each inquiry was a cosmic rhythm, pulsing through the heavens, compelling Job yet again to engage in this divine discourse. Where were you when I laid the earth's foundations? Tell me, if you understand. Who marked off its dimensions? Surely you know. Who stretched a measuring line across it? Each word was like a hammer striking the anvil of Job's soul, forging strength from his doubts. The imagery of creation unfolded not merely in history but as an eternal present, revealing layers of God's might. On what were its footings set, or who laid its cornerstone while the morning stars sang together and all the angels shouted for joy? The echoes of creation reverberated within Job, resounding against the deep knowing that the infinite Creator rejoiced over his handiwork. Job's heart softened as he beheld the love embedded in creation, a love he had questioned amidst his suffering. Who shut up the sea behind doors when it burst forth from the womb, when I made the clouds its garment and wrapped it in thick darkness? The imagery painted before Job stirred within him the memories of God's protective hand, sheltering the mighty forces of nature, just as he had sheltered Job through his tribulations. Have you ever given orders to the morning, or shown the dawn its place? Do you take them by the hand, or guide the stars? Each question was a gentle reminder of human limitation set against divine omnipotence. Job sensed the threads of his suffering woven intricately into this grand narrative, hidden yet purposeful in God's eyes. As the Lord continued, the creatures of the earth became vivid in Job's mind. Is it by your understanding that the hawk soars and spreads its wings toward the south? Is it at your command that the eagle rises to the heights? Here was the evidence of divine order, the elegant choreography of creation, juxtaposed against the chaos that Job had faced. Awash with humility and a deeper understanding, Job found his voice again, trembling yet resolute. I know that you can do all things, no purpose of yours can be thwarted. His acknowledgement struck a profound chord, echoing through the heavens like a prayer of acceptance, a reset of sight, and in the midst of this revelation, a divine silence fell, heavier than the storm. The questions hung in the air, settling around Job, revealing a pivotal truth. In the heart of despair, God's commandments were not solely decrees but invitations to intimacy, beckoning Job to a place of faith beyond comprehension. As the whirlwind calmed to a tender breeze, a whisper of revelation unfurled, promising a truth that lay yet unseen. God's sovereign plan, unfurling like wings in the hands of the Almighty, awaited Job. Here was a mystery, a divine tapestry woven through pain and glory, a promise that the culmination of all things would reveal the depths of God's mercy and grace. Now the Lord resumed, and the gentle breeze became an echo of his mighty voice. Will you discredit my justice? Will you condemn me to justify yourself? The questions were like arrows shot into Job's heart, provoking the depths of his human understanding, challenging his earthly perspectives. Have you an arm like God's, and can your voice thunder like his? The Lord's authority reverberated through the stillness, and the clarity of his inquiries pierced through Job's shame and suffering. His mind raced with the weight of the challenge, wrestling with each syllable that hung in the air like a tangible presence. Adorn yourself with glory and splendor, and clothe yourself in honor and majesty, the Lord declared. Unleash the fury of your wrath, look at all who are proud and bring them low. Look at all who are proud and humble them, crush the wicked where they stand. Job was immediately struck by the vastness of God's decree. Who could possibly wield such power? He quietly contemplated the impossibility of meeting this divine challenge. The brilliant tapestry of creation, the intricate details of life, they were woven together by the very hand that now questioned him. Bury them all in the dust together, shroud their faces in the grave. The Lord's voice thundered with a righteous fervor, calling forth justice amid the murky waters of Job's own despair. Through every utterance, Job spiraled deeper into reflection, grappling with his own grievances against the Lord in light of the Almighty's invincible sovereignty. Then will I acknowledge to you that your own right hand can save you. Each command surged within Job, for he knew well that his own hand had never held the power to overturn fate. The voice of the Lord continued, Look at Behemoth, whom I made along with you and who feeds on grass like an ox. What strength he has in his loins, what power in the muscles of his belly. Job envisioned the colossal creature, majestic and daunting, a mere flicker of God's creative ability. How insignificant were his complaints compared to the manifestation of such awe. His tail sways like a cedar, the sinews of his thighs are taut. The language of wonder painted vivid images in Job's mind, reframing his understanding of both weariness and might. Each creature, each aspect of creation, was a reflection of divine authority wielded in perfect design. The mountains bring him their produce, and all the wild animals play nearby. For a moment, Job saw a glimpse into the harmony of God's world, a symphony where all creation rejoiced under the hand of the Creator. The pain of his past seemed to fade in that radiance, a poignant reminder of the joy and intricacy lurking behind every moment of adversity. His heart trembled anew as the Lord asked, Can anyone capture him by the eyes, or trap him and pierce his nose? In the echo of this divine narrative, Job sensed that even the mighty Behemoth, with all of its strength, bowed before the sovereignty of the Lord, who commanded the heavens and the earth with ineffable wisdom. As silence enveloped the space once more, an imminent weight settled with fresh revelation. Job understood that in the realm of the Almighty, purpose and pain were interwoven, a tapestry unfolding in the divine orchestration of hope. And yet, even as the echoes of the Lord's voice receded, a profound truth lingered: what was still to be revealed to Job, in the depths of his suffering and discovery. This sovereign plan, brilliantly shrouded, held mysteries yet untouched, waiting for the appointed time when the full measure of God's grace would cascade into every crease of his life's tapestry. Then the Lord continued, his voice a tempest that swept over the plains like a whirlwind, commanding Job's full attention. Can you, Job, bring forth the constellations in their season? Or can you guide the bear with its cubs? The cosmic challenge resounded through the air, as the light of stars flickered in the vast expanses, a testament to divine omnipotence. Do you know the laws of the heavens? Can you set their dominion over the earth? An awe-filled silence gripped Job. He pondered the unfathomable depths of creation, the divine order that governed all things, a symphony of celestial bodies, each playing its part under God's watchful eye. Who can number the clouds by wisdom? Or who can tilt the water jars of heaven, when the dust becomes hard and the clods of earth stick together? With each question, the Lord painted the vastness of creation, unveiling the intricate balance of his artistry, far beyond Job's understanding, illuminating the insignificance of his own human plight. Job contemplated the wonders of nature: the majestic eagle who soars high, the lion roaring for its prey, the wild goat bearing young. The very essence of creation testified to God's sovereign will. Will you cry out to the eagle and command it to return? With every image, Job's heart beat heavier, recognizing his own humanity within the grand design, a mere vessel surrounded by wonders that he could not hope to comprehend. Is it by your understanding that the hawk soars, spreading its wings toward the south? Job felt his spirit bow beneath the weight of truth, caught in the whirlwind of awe and humility. The Lord was revealing not just his might, but his benevolent providence, how all creatures were sustained under his hand. As the silence nestled back between the divine declarations, Job found himself grappling with the essence of the Almighty in contrast to his own suffering. Shall a fault-finder contend with the Almighty? God's voice thundered with authority. Job's heart quaked at the thought, who could stand against the perfect institution of divine will? I must answer you, O Lord, Job responded, his voice barely above a whisper, the gravity of the moment pressing him into solemnity. I have spoken, but I will not engage further. What can mere flesh contend with the one who formed the world, who breathes life? Then, the Lord replied, stand up like a man, I will question you, and you shall answer me. The challenge ignited a fire within Job, illuminating the complex tapestry interwoven with both despair and devotion. Job felt the shadows of doubt dissipating with the dawning realization that in his suffering, there was purpose beyond his understanding. In that hallowed moment, amidst divine inquiry and earthly wrestle, a profound realization took root in Job's heart. God was not absent in his anguish, but present, weaving faith through tribulation, crafting a masterpiece from chaos. Through your trials, I shall reveal my glory, and through your suffering, I shall echo my purpose, the Lord pronounced, a powerful declaration reverberating into Job's very core. And with this, Job stood on the precipice of revelation yet to unfold. What greater truths awaited in the whirlwind of God's grace? What depths of wisdom would be uncovered in the crucible of faith? Thus, a question lingered upon the horizon of Job's understanding: would he endure, and through his endurance, unveil the hidden strands of divine purpose woven through the fiber of his life? Where were you when I laid the foundation of the earth? Tell me, if you have understanding, the Lord continued, his voice a relentless current, each syllable crashing upon Job like waves upon the rocky shores. The words pierced deeply, challenging Job to grasp the essence of creation itself. Who determined its measurements? Surely you know. Or who stretched the line upon it? The questions poured forth like unending torrents, revealing the vastness of divine knowledge in stark contrast to human limitation. Job felt himself shrink beneath the magnitude of the Creator's revelations. On what were its bases sunk, or who laid its cornerstone, when the morning stars sang together, and all the sons of God shouted for joy? Job's heart swelled with a mix of dread and awe. It was unfathomable creation itself rejoicing in its beginning. He could almost hear the chorus of that celestial harmony, yet now it starkly illuminated the silence of his own sufferings. How could he, a mere mortal, engage in discourse with the one who had set the cosmos in motion, who had commanded the tides of the sea and the lucent glow of dawn? Have you commanded the morning since your days began, and caused the dawn to know its place? The Lord's inquiries propelled Job into a realm of contemplation that transcended his earthly sorrow. That it might take hold of the ends of the earth and the wicked be shaken out of it. He envisioned the dawn dispelling darkness, and in that moment, a flicker of hope ignited within him. Have you entered into the springs of the sea, or walked in the recesses of the deep? Have the gates of death been revealed to you, or have you seen the gates of the shadow of death? The shadow lingered in Job's heart. Was he to find some truth even in that unfathomable darkness? With each question, the Lord unfolded the mysteries of life and death, the elements of the world that stood beyond human comprehension. Have you comprehended the breadth of the earth? Declare, if you know it all. Job felt as if he stood at the edge of the universe, swirling with the infinite possibilities that God had crafted. Where is the way to the dwelling of light, and darkness, where is its place? Job was reminded of the times he had searched for a glimmer of understanding amid his despair. It seemed as if every light he sought had been swallowed by the darkness, yet the Lord's voice persisted in unveiling the truths that lay hidden beneath the veil of sorrow. Can you bind the chains of the Pleiades, or loose the cords of Orion? Each inquiry held a challenge for Job, a reminder that the cosmos is governed by perfect order, divine law that Job's own life could not hope to unravel. Can you lead forth a constellation in its season? Or can you guide the bear with its cubs? Job's spirit trembled as he acknowledged the vastness of God's wisdom and the limitations of his own understanding. In that divine moment, he began to see his trials not as the ultimate roadblocks but as part of a grand story yet to be penned by God's own hand. Will you say, my righteousness is more than God's? The Lord pressed on, each question digging deep into the layers of Job's heart, revealing not only his suffering but also the depths of faith and longing to understand the divine plan at play. As Job stood humbled in awe and trepidation, he sensed that the winds of understanding were shifting, gathering new strength. Soon, a revelation would break forth, unveiling the ultimate purpose behind all suffering, an echo of God's redemptive grace waiting just beyond the horizon. The heart of Job, though laden with questioning, began to beat in rhythm with the very heart of God. For in the depths of his turmoil, there lay the promise that God was weaving his sovereign story through every strand of Job's pain, and the fulfillment of a greater purpose remained silently waiting, poised on the edge of revelation. Now prepare yourself like a man, I will question you, and you shall answer me, the Lord commanded, as the whirlwind swept through the desolate landscape surrounding Job. The tempest roared, an urgent reminder of the power of God who spoke to him from the heart of the storm. Will you indeed annul my judgment? Will you condemn me that you may be justified? The weight of the Lord's word struck Job deeply. His heart raced with a conflict of emotions, for how could he stand against the Almighty? Have you an arm like God, or can you thunder with a voice like his? Job trembled at the enormity of the challenge laid before him. Each inquiry wrapped around him like a binding cord, revealing the stark contrast between the Creator's unparalleled strength and Job's frail understanding. Deck yourself with majesty and splendor, and array yourself with glory and beauty. Disperse the rage of your wrath, look on everyone who is proud, and humble him. Look on everyone who is proud, and bring him low, tread down the wicked in their place. The Lord's voice echoed with a thunderous authority, as he outlined the might of his sovereignty over all that exists. How could Job, in his weakened state, comprehend such power? Yet even in his despair, Job longed to grasp the depths of God's purposes. Each query from the Lord birthed within him a blend of bewilderment and yearning. Feed your eyes on every beast, and bring the creature to its knees. Can you catch the prey for the lion, or satisfy the appetite of the young lions when they crouch in their dens, or lurk in their lairs to lie in wait? The divine questions propelled Job into contemplation of nature's raw ferocity and how God provided in all creation. Job's spirit wrestled with the reality that even the mighty lion depended on the sustenance of the Creator. Who provides for the raven its prey, when its young ones cry to God, and wander about for lack of food? In that moment, a flicker of understanding broke through the clouds of sorrow, a recognition that divine providence extended to every creature, even the least of them. As the whirlwind howled, the revelation continued to unfold. Job was reminded that he was not alone in his suffering. The cycle of life is woven with trials, and God's hand sustains all. Do you know the time when the mountain goats give birth? Or can you mark when the deer give birth? The Lord led him deeper into the rhythm of creation, revealing the sacred beauty inherent in every life brought forth. Is it by your understanding that the hawk soars, and spreads its wings toward the south? Each majestic creature portrayed the majestic hand of God, intricately designed to fulfill its purpose in the world. Within those words, Job sensed a shift. He was not merely a bystander in his own narrative but a participant in God's majestic design. Through the divine inquiries, Job began to feel the threads of hope weaving through his heart. His suffering had not been in vain, but rather a part of an eternal tapestry where pain met grace. Yet the fullness of understanding was not yet revealed. Surely, the mountains cry out for justice, yet remain silent in reverence to me, the Lord proclaimed. And can you answer these riddles of creation? With each proclamation, the depths of Job's soul stirred, wrestling against despair while daring to lean into the promise of God's faithfulness. In the midst of his great turmoil, a whisper emerged. The very essence of God's sovereign will was unfolding before him. For in God's omniscient crafting, every question, every trial of Job was a step further into the divine mystery of his plans, a revelation that the Lord could, in his time, turn mourning into joy and transform ashes into beauty, orchestrating a symphony too grand for human understanding. Yet beyond the horizon of this understanding lay an even more profound truth, an echo of divine purpose that would reverberate through generations, a whisper of hope awaited Job, tethered firmly to God's unfailing promise of redemption and grace. Can you bind the cluster of the Pleiades, or loose the belt of Orion? The Lord continued, his voice rumbling through the tempest like rolling thunder. Each celestial inquiry illuminated the vastness of creation and reminded Job of his own limitations. Do you bring out the Mazzaroth in its season? Or do you guide the great bear with its cubs? The fabric of the universe unfurled before Job's eyes, revealing the order imbued in chaos, drawing him deeper into the majesty of God's design. Job's heart pounded within him. How could mere flesh contend with such rhythm and purpose woven into the stars? He felt small, yet therein lay an undeniable truth. God's grand scheme encompassed the heavens and the earth, resonating with the heartbeat of eternity itself. Do you know the ordinances of the heavens? Can you set their dominion over the earth? The Lord challenged. Each word rang with profound authority and wisdom. Job felt the weight of the universe hinge upon the answers he could not provide. Fearsome truths settled in. He was but dust, yet the Almighty knew him by name. Suddenly, a vision pierced through Job's despair, a vision of grace amidst obligation, of mercy intertwined with justice. The revelation was not merely of cosmic power but of intimate knowledge. Yet how is it, Job thought, that I, an insignificant being, am included in the plans of the Creator? Will you send out your voice to the clouds, that an abundance of water may cover you? God's inquiry fell like rain upon arid ground, nourished by the stirring truths of Job's heart. In the raw silence of apprehension, Job strained to comprehend the vastness of his own existence in contrast with the Lord's omnipotence. And can you hunt the prey for the lion and satisfy the appetite of the young lions? The Lord painted vivid pictures of reliance and vulnerability amongst his creations. Job began to recognize within these relentless questions his own path of suffering and dependency on God's provision. In the midst of hunger, shall I not find my hope in the one who feeds the lion? Job mused internally, wrestling with layers of humility and emerging wisdom. For he is that God, he is my God. And in that profound contemplation, he felt a flicker of appreciation, a shift in perspective that he was indeed woven into this great tapestry. Who provides for the raven its prey, when its young ones cry to God? With these words, the Lord drew Job's attention to the cycles of care, reinforcing the notion that he was part of a greater trust rested in God's unfailing hand. In the tempest's embrace, Job realized that beyond the shadows of his suffering awaited a deep, abiding truth. He had not been forgotten, nor abandoned. In the eyes of the Almighty, his struggle held significance, woven into the overall narrative of God's divine purpose. Do you understand the majestic strength of the behemoth, or the powerful might of the Leviathan? The words thundered against Job's heart. In the imagery of these mighty creatures, he saw the immensity of God's creation echoed in his own trials, both commanded by the same divine mastery. As apprehension battled against growing understanding, Job recognized that within the tempest of divine inquiry was invitation not merely for answers but for connection and understanding. The Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want, crested in Job's spirit like the dawn breaking through the darkest night, and amidst the questions reverberating through the storm, a certainty began to bloom, his faith was not in vain. Indeed, the God of the universe was weaving a narrative that, in time, would reveal not merely personal redemption but a cosmic tapestry of grace that would resonate eternally, for beyond the storm's fury and Job's passionate longing lay a profound promise, a stochastic future where the tears of his servant would bear witness to a victory that would span eternity. A gentle breeze began to whisper through the chaos, revealing the truth: the revelation of God's sovereign plan was not concluded. As lines of understanding began to weave together, glimmering hints of redemption and a narrative of hope awaited to be unveiled, promising that the time had come when the Lord would turn mourning into dancing, weaving Job's pain into a legacy of glory. And so, after the tempest, the stillness descended upon Job like the gentle embrace of a dove. In that sacred silence, the threads of his anguish began to weave together with threads of hope, and the heart of Job stirred with anticipation of the Lord's restoration. The Almighty, who had questioned Job with the weight of the universe upon his breath, was now poised to reveal the depths of his purpose through all that Job had endured. Job, the Lord spoke softly, yet with the majesty that echoes through eternity, do you now understand that your suffering holds meaning greater than your pain? In the tapestry of creation, every thread, every sorrow is a part of my divine plan. Job trembled before the presence of the Lord, for he saw in the light of divine revelation a glimpse of the sacred design that had been hidden in the shadow of his trials. Once a man of sorrow, now he was becoming a vessel of glory, a reflection of God's grace beyond the valley of despair. His heart knew a peace he had long fought to grasp. "I have spoken of what I did not understand," Job whispered, his voice quivering with humility. "But now my eyes have seen you." A wondrous recognition surged within him. This was not merely the God of power but the God of relationship, who embraced his creation even through the fires of refinement. With these words, the Lord drew nearer, a soft glow around him illuminating the space. "You have fought hard in your faith, Job. You have endured the tests, and now I shall make all things new." With every utterance, the atmosphere shifted, a divine exchange was about to commence. "Your friends, who spoke hastily and falsely, shall offer sacrifices, and you shall pray for them. For I desire not only to restore you but to teach them, too, the depths of my mercy." Job felt the weight of the moment as he recognized the heart of God, compassion flowing even for those who had misunderstood the divine narrative woven in his suffering. Then, the clouds that had loomed heavy over him began to part, and a greater understanding filled Job's being. "I will intercede, my Lord, for I now know the purpose of my pain, and I shall bless those who have shown me their weakness." His spirit radiated with resolve. Job fell upon his knees, praying fervently for his friends, knowing that through his own vulnerability, they too might witness the glory of the Almighty, and as his prayers rose like incense before the throne of heaven, the Lord hearkened unto Job's cry. The earth trembled and the heavens rejoiced, for the moment of restoration had arrived. Job's fortunes, diminished by calamity, were returned to him with bountiful blessings, his wealth multiplied beyond measure. The laughter of children echoed once more through his home, a testament to a family reborn. That in time, Job was graced with 7 sons and 3 daughters, each a blessing and a reminder that though suffering had come, joy had been resurrected. The beauty of the names he chose reflected the radiance of hope restored: Jemimah, Keziah, and Keren-Happuch. In all the land, no women were found more lovely, nor wise, for the hand of God had placed his favor upon them. As if to declare his glory from the ashes, his heart flooded with gratitude, he realized that the true restoration was not merely in possessions but in the depth of renewed relationship with God. Job had journeyed beyond despair into a realm of understanding, echoing the eternal truth that the suffering of this present time is not worthy to be compared with the glory that shall be revealed in us. And so, in the fullness of days, Job died old and full of years, a patriarch of faith whose life became a beacon of hope for generations, a testament that in the whirlwind of life, God is ever faithful, weaving every sorrow into a fabric of divine purpose. The account of Job remains not merely a story of suffering but a revelation of unwavering faith amidst trials, teaching all who would listen that even in desolation, hope blooms eternal, and the hand of God turns mourning into dancing. In the majesty of this narrative, let your own heart be stirred to faith. Subscribe immediately to our channel so you don't miss the next powerful biblical stories that show God's faithfulness and guidance through every shadow we face. Hit that like button now to help spread God's word through the algorithm and be a light to others searching for hope. I urge you to comment below with your spiritual reflections on how Job's journey has transformed your faith. Every story matters. And don't wait even one more second to share this powerful testimony with at least 5 friends who need to hear God's truth today. Your actions can help reach more souls for Christ.